You wake up, standing in a country that does not exist. No flag flies here. No government has ever collected a tax, built a road, or drawn a border patrol across this ground. You check a map on your phone. The screen shows a gap, a hole in the political world, sitting quietly between two nations that both refuse to touch it. For over a century, this was not a mistake. It was a trap built by two empires, and nobody has ever wanted to walk out of it. This is Bir Tawil, 2,060 square kilometers of rock and sand on the border of Egypt and Sudan. No permanent residence, no claim. The only land on Earth that every country on the planet has had the legal opportunity to own, and every single one has said no. How does a piece of land become unwanted by an entire species? The answer starts in 1899. Britain controlled both Egypt and Sudan at the time, and administrators drew a straight political border along the 22nd parallel of latitude. Clean, simple, a ruler laid across a map. This agreement, the Anglo-Egyptian condominium, decided who owned what, on paper, for the century that followed. But 3 years later, in 1902, the same British officials drew a second line. This one was not political, it was practical, based on which tribes actually grazed their animals where, and who could realistically administer daily life on the ground. That second line curved. It gave a small triangular strip, called Bir Tawil, to Sudanese administration. And it gave a much larger, coastal, resource-rich piece of land, called the Halaib Triangle, to Egyptian administration. 2 lines, 2 different owners, for the same regions. And that contradiction still has not been resolved. Here is where the trap closes. Egypt insists on the 1899 line, the straight one, because that version gives Egypt the valuable Halaib Triangle with its Red Sea coastline and its access to fishing and shipping routes. Sudan insists on the 1902 line, the curved one, because that version gives Sudan the same valuable territory instead. Both countries want Halaib, neither country wants Bir Tawil, and under international law, a nation cannot pick and choose. To claim Bir Tawil, Egypt would have to accept the 1902 line and lose its claim to Halaib. To claim Bir Tawil, Sudan would have to accept the 1899 line and lose its claim to Halaib. So both nations do the only thing that protects their real prize. They stay silent. They let Bir Tawil sit empty. This is what geographers and legal scholars call Terra Nullius, a Latin term meaning nobody's land. It is a real category in international law, used to describe territory that no sovereign state governs or claims. Most terra nullius on Earth disappeared centuries ago, absorbed by colonization and treaty-making. Bir Tawil is one of the last true examples left. So let's recreate a single day standing inside it. You are somewhere in the eastern edge of the Nubian desert. The ground beneath you is dry, cracked, and rust-colored, broken by low ridges of exposed rock. There is no well within walking distance. There is no road that officially leads here, only tire tracks left by the rare vehicle that passes through. The nearest settlement with any real population is over 100 kilometers away. Occasionally, Bedouin herders cross this land with camels, following seasonal rain that might fall once or twice a year. They do not settle. There is nothing here to settle for. No permanent water source has ever supported a fixed community in Bir Tawil's recorded history. You could, technically, plant a flag right now, and no government on Earth holds the legal standing to immediately stop you. That sounds like freedom. Here is the twist. The emptiness of Bir Tawil is not an accident of geography. It is a byproduct of two governments protecting their most valuable asset by deliberately avoiding their least valuable one. This is not land that fell through the cracks. It is land both nations calculated was cheaper to abandon than to fight over. The absence of ownership here is not a failure of the system. It is the system working exactly as intended for the people who built it, which means the empty space on your map is not empty at all. It is full of decision-making. Every blank spot on a political map exists because someone, somewhere, decided it was not worth the argument. That has not stopped individuals from trying anyway. In June of 2014, an American man named Jeremiah Heaton traveled to Bir Tawil and planted a homemade flag in the sand, declaring it the Kingdom of North Sudan. He did it, by his own account, so he could tell his young daughter she was officially a princess. 3 years later, in 2017, an Indian traveler named Suyash Dixit made a similar journey and claimed the same territory as the Kingdom of Dixit. Neither claim carries any legal weight. No nation on Earth recognizes them, because under international law, a claim of Terra Nullius generally requires an established, functioning government exercising real control, not a flag stuck into sand for an afternoon. But both men were drawn to the same impulse. A patch of the planet with no name on the deed felt like something worth reaching for, even symbolically. Look at how much of your own life runs on the same instinct. A username on a platform no one else has claimed yet. A parking spot outside your building that feels like yours, even though it legally is not. An unclaimed inbox, an unclaimed idea, an unclaimed piece of land in a video game map. Ownership, real or imagined, is one of the oldest human cravings there is. It did not start with property law. It started with standing somewhere and deciding, quietly, that this spot belongs to you. Bir Tawil proves that even entire nations feel that same pull, and sometimes choose to walk away from it instead. Two governments looked at a stretch of desert and decided that owning it was not worth what it would cost them to admit. So the next time you look at a map and see a solid, confident border, remember that every line on it was a choice, not a fact of nature. Somewhere, a piece of the world was traded, ignored, or quietly left behind to protect something else. And somewhere on Earth right now, there is still a stretch of land waiting for a government willing to pay the price of wanting it. You woke up standing in a country that does not exist. It turns out that was never really the strange part. The strange part is how many countries exist only because somebody, somewhere, decided to want them.